The history of the dog, which was produced by Mr. P.A.T. Patrick, the pit bull, called INVICTO, holder of the title, P.O.R. The undefeated pit bull was produced by Mr. Pat Patrick. He was sold when he was a puppy. It was bought by the kennel, PACHACAMAC, from Lima, which is from Peru. The undefeated arrived in Peru in 1993. And in 1993, it was the starting point for the whole legacy of this dog. And it would be the year in which the history of the fight of dogs would change forever in this country. The year 1993 was the year that the legacy of this great animal began to be written. He would be the most important dog in Peru. A breeding dog and producer. The largest which has ever existed in Peru and in South America. This great animal was responsible for the production of numerous dogs, which became winners. And he also produced a lot of dogs, which became producers, and so, they also produced several dogs, which became winners. There was a time when almost all the dogs, which were winners, in this part of the world, had the blood of the undefeated, running through their veins. Even if the peak of his career, as a breeding dog, in the fight of dogs in Peru. It was still, in its initial stage. It's not fair to judge your producer's history. It's a shame that so many other great animals have not had the opportunity to show themselves in a fight. We had some dogs, which were monsters, coming from the undefeated dog. And we couldn't mark any fights for them. Due to the minimum amount of dogmen and conventions of that time. It's so frustrating, you know, that you have amazing dogs, but you're not able to do a lot with them. This happened in the late 90s. That was the reason, which is not fair, to judge the breeding record of the INVICTO dog. Considering that his heyday, while he was still young, and full of health, there was no competition. The dog fight in Peru began to advance at a faster pace in the late 1990s. Then it started to have more conventions every year. Many dogs, who were son and daughter, of INVICTO, began to win, and thus show the incredible capacity of the old producer INVICTO. And not only their direct children, but also their grandchildren, became winners. The name of the undefeated was being heard in Peru and in several other countries in South America. He was loved by many, and hated in the same way. The dogman, I knew that if you brought a dog, it would be from the blood of the undefeated. You would be bringing a bulldog, and that would stay in the fight all night, if necessary. Like that, name undefeated, became that name to be beaten. Either you loved this blood, and used it, or you hated it, and tried to destroy it. One of the things that differentiated INVICTO from other stallions was its ability to produce dogs, breeders. Few breeders, and producers, are able to breed dogs, which are able to produce, and reproduce producing dogs. The INVICTO, that was it, an animal, which not only left many other great animals behind, but he ensured that his lineage would be taken to the future, and to the path of greatness. And so also launching great producing dogs. If we take a look at some dogs, which left directly from the backyard of P.A.T. Patrick, in the year 1990 to 2009, we will see that you will not find any dog that produced more than INVICTO, or that came close to its production. And we are talking about real numbers, and they are not imaginary numbers, nor invented, of someone's mind. In fact, INVICTO is one of the best producers, who has already left directly, from your backyard, P.A.T. Patrick. Don't believe it, just on my word, do your own research, and draw your own conclusions. Let's analyze some dogs, which were more important, coming directly from the INVICTO dog, or that descend from it. Let's not list them all, it's just a sample of the many great dogs that the undefeated left behind. Each of the animals, which will be mentioned below, played an important role in this family. Some had great owners, and some became excellent producing dogs. The difficult thing here is to compare the proportion of dogs, which were produced, with the amount of exposures, of struggle, and the amount of dogmen, which existed at this time. It would be more difficult to compare, with the dogs that came, directly from the backyard, from Mr. P.A.T. Patrick. But they went to different countries, such as the USA, which had more fights per year, and more of dogmen for capital. Just by using this criterion, it is already evident that INVICTO was one of the dogs which became a producer, more important, who left directly from the yard of Mr. P.A.T. Patrick. But as in the sport of dog fighting, the "if" is left out, we will never know. The real numbers are what counts, and only the real numbers are printed in the books of history. Now, when I talk about the legacy of INVICTO, it does not mean that we have reached an end. And it doesn't exist, the end, absolutely not. In fact, the best is yet to come. Fortunately, the undefeated, he continued to produce until a very advanced age, thus generating the last 2 litters at the age of 13, and the other at the age of 14. These litters were the INVICTO, crossed with the Pepper. And the other was INVICTO, crossed with Miss Redneck. We still have 2 puppies from the Pimento litter, alive. And 3 puppies from Miss Redneck's litter, also alive. They are Asterisk the undefeated 2, from the Empire's kennel. Asterisk Mr. Redneck, from the Empire's kennel. Asterisk the commander of the Empire's kennel. Asterisk Tuffy, from the Empire's kennel. Asterisk Olympia, from the J&J Peru kennel. These dogs are young, and are just beginning to reproduce, but even so, they have already produced winners, in the case of Commander and Olympia. Undefeated 2, Tuffy, and Mr. Redneck, are the youngest. And they started to be crossed in the last 2 years. In the case of Mr. Redneck, he hasn't even been crossed yet. Knowing this blood like the palm of my hand, and considering that I have the last 3 children, who are alive, of the famous undefeated, I can say, with all certainty, and with authority, that the undefeated 2 is the heir, and the successor, of the old dog, undefeated. The undefeated 2, has all the qualities, to be recognized, as one of the best children, that the old undefeated, has ever produced. Unfortunately, the circumstances caused INVICTO 2 not to become a contract winner. We had 2 fights scheduled, when he was still at his peak, but in both, he hears giving up. The first contract, which was scheduled, was supposed to be in 4 weeks. And the second contract was in 10 days. We continue, with his weight open, for months, but after we received the second withdrawal, he doesn't listen anymore, opponents, so we decided to retire him. Many would find it crazy, this idea of risking in a fight, one of the last, of the 3 living children, the old man, and especially, a dog of this caliber. But that's not why undefeated 2 was not shown in a fight. We knew we had a bulldog. And we wanted to show him, our own beliefs, they told us, to show him in a fight, before crossing him. But things did not go as planned, and unfortunately, the undefeated 2 was retired, without being able to prove to the world, the bulldog, first class, that he was, and still is. His career, as a breeding dog, began late, since, while he was open, to face opponents, we did not cross him. And it's only been about 1.5 years since we started using it in our creation program. He was slowly introduced to some bitches. And crossed, with our females, of litter. We began to notice, some patterns, in a few months after birth, of their litters, all the dogs, madmen and beginner fighters. As the months went by, they continued to show what they wanted, and they were ready, that's how their wish came true. Now we have, several of them at school, and demonstrating, the same characteristics, that made this family, of bulldogs, so successful. And even, that the dogs, older, are only 19 months old, some are already finishing school, and will start in the circuit, of the dog fight. In our deep knowledge, of this family of dogs, in addition to the tangible proof, that the undefeated 2 produced great animals. And that, in just 2 litters, it was enough to convince us, and to base our backyard, on this great animal. The new heir to the legacy, of the dog INVICTO. Since then, we have crossed, almost all of our bitches, with the undefeated 2. This, to give you the well-deserved opportunity, to leave your mark, on the sports circuit, of the dog fight, of this part of the world. And so far, each litter, which the undefeated 2 produced, has given us the same results. Beginner dogs, and with an incredible impulse, and a lot of hunting intensity. It does not matter with which female he was crossed, he will still transmit the same characteristics to his children. And we can't ignore these tremendous qualities of a dog as a producer. It wouldn't be right, I wouldn't mention the commander, another great bulldog. And son of the old dog, famous, INVICTO. The commander has already produced some winning dogs, and there are many more dogs ready to enter the fight circuit. We are using commander, to transmit, more lung capacity, to our family of bulldogs, which are already competitive. The commander has a special place, in our plan, of reproduction. And we are presenting it, carefully, to the main, females of our creation. And we expect great results, results that will be up to par, and in addition to the quality of the bulldogs, which have already come from this incredible family of dogs. The family of bulldogs, of the undefeated dog, is not a lineage of the month. We kept this family united, and above all, competitive, for many years. We also kept her away from street vendors, and from people, who were not active, in the dog fight. Most would agree that the success of a good animal depends almost entirely on who is the owner of this animal. If they fall into the wrong hands, the animal will be doomed, but if they fall into the hands of true dogmatics, the sky will be the limit. As such, we will continue with our tradition, trying our best, to place these animals, with the right dogmans. And not letting our animals fall into the hands of street vendors. And that would ruin all our work, and also years of dedication. Making our family a popular lineage of the month, instead of being, what it has always been, one of the most successful families in the world of the dog fight.